Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chang Gang Podcast, episode 40. We finally hit 40, featuring Ian, aka EJSX_. Welcome in, Ian. Thank you so much for committing time, for this podcast. How's it going?
Of course. Everything's good. How are you?
Everything's good with me too. Appreciate it. Alright, folks in chat, as you can see on the top right, the panel is right there. Episode 40, we have a picture of Ian. A little bit small, but she's right there. And on the bottom right, you could see the Instagram handles for both of us. Feel free to drop a follow if you haven't already. And also, there's going to be two commands for this podcast. The first one is !podcast. In short, it's just for me to get to know my friends on a more personal level on Twitch. So that's like a brief description. And the second command is !guest. Thank you so much, Matt. Basically, that is the link to Ian's Twitch channel. She streams. Make sure to drop her a follow on Twitch if you haven't already. Get to know her too. Alright, we're gonna start things off with Ian giving us a brief introduction about yourself and include some of your hobbies and interests.
Hey. Hi guys, my name is Ian. I'm 22 years old and I'm from New York City. I like to, play games, mostly just Valorant and League. And as for my hobbies, I like going to concerts. I like hanging out with friends. And if I'm not in the mood to go out, I usually just sleep and binge watch shows on Netflix or like K-dramas, I guess.
Okay. Nice. Listed out good amount of hobbies and interests. So, how would you describe your own personality?
I think I'm very quiet until I open up to people, I guess. And then I'm also very selfless. I put others before me. I never really put myself first, so I always just care about everyone else and how they're feeling, and I put everyone else's needs before mine. So yeah.
And would you consider yourself more of like a introvert or an extrovert? Like on a scale of 1 through 10, 1 being introverted and 10 being extroverted, where are you at on the spectrum?
I think I'm probably at a 6. So more on the introverted side, until I open up to people, and then that's when I get more comfortable and start talking to people more. So yeah, I think I'm at a 6.
Okay, cool. Alright, let's talk about the beginnings of when you were born, during that time. What was life like for you growing up with your family and just the whole background?
Okay. So I was born in the Philippines. When I was 9 months old, my mom moved to America. She moved to New York to work, and then so it was basically just left with my dad, my brothers, and then my aunt, which is my mom's sister, my mom's brother, my uncle, and then my grandma. So growing up until I was 7, my mom's side of the family, and my dad took care of me. And then when I was 7 years old, that's when I first met my mom. So my first memory of my mom, actually seeing her, was at the airport. So my dad actually went to go to the bathroom, and he was like, "Oh, look out for your mom, in case you see her." But I wasn't sure what to expect. So then when my dad came out, I was like, "Wait, is that mom?" And then I was right. But so since that was my first time meeting my mom, I was very shy around her. I didn't really open up to her up until we moved here to New York, and we started living with her. And then growing up, my mom was hella strict. It was very different from how my dad raised me. Growing up, I was very spoiled with my dad. He bought me anything I wanted. He let me do whatever I wanted. But my mom, on the other hand, is always "Oh no, you can't go outside, you can't do this." So just a lot of restrictions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was always close with my brothers, but when we were younger, we used to obviously fight a lot. I think that's normal. And then now I'm very like we're all like very close. We tell each other everything. We do everything with each other. So yeah.
Nice. What's the age gap between you and your bros?
So I have two older brothers. The one that I live with, we're 7 years apart, and then my oldest brother, we're 10 years apart.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay, so to be clear, so your mom moved for like work opportunity? Is that why you were raised for 7 years? Okay. Without her.
Yeah, so she moved here to work, and then I guess like she would send us money for help and stuff like that, and that was for up until I was 7.
How's your relationship now with your parents?
Like,
what's it like?
So when I was younger, I was always close to my dad, and then my mom. We would always like our relationship was always like very rocky. We used to fight a lot about just stupid stuff, just because like I felt like it was always like very controlling where I couldn't do anything, so we always would fight a lot. But when going into college, I guess, or like senior year of high school, going to college, our relationship got a lot better. She started to become more open to letting me do stuff. So now like she's very open to just like, oh mom, like I'm going here, I guess, or whatever, and she'll be like, okay, like just let me know what time you're coming home, or like where you're going, or who you're gonna be with. But there are still like some restrictions that if I tell her like, oh, I'm doing this and that, she'll be like, what the heck. And then my dad actually moved to Chicago when I was in middle school. It might have been 12 or 13. So my dad moved to Chicago for work opportunities also. So after he moved, I started not to get closer to him. It started like getting hard to talk to him about stuff. So yeah, that's also another reason why I got closer to my mom. So yeah, I mean, my relationship with my parents I think it's okay. It's not bad.
Yeah, it's good. And since you were kind of like up and down with your mom back then, relationship-wise, how did your parents handle discipline for you and your siblings?
I think discipline with me and my siblings were always like different, just because I was the youngest and I was the only girl. My brothers would be able to do, I don't know, whatever they wanted to, I guess, or just mostly everything they wanted to. But when it came to me, my mom was always like, oh, you're a girl, like something can happen to you, this and that, so you can't do this, you can't do that. And I was always like, what the hell, like why? So I was very like rebellious during, I guess, middle school and high school. And then my dad my dad's actually really, really quiet. If he really needed to, he'll talk to me and tell me like, oh, just don't do this and that, like what's wrong and like what's right and wrong. That's about it. So it was always mostly my mom.
Okay, so more about where you grew up in and where you live now. So what was like the diversity like, and what was the transition like from the Philippines to New York?
I think so. The transition from the Philippines to New York, I don't think it was that difficult for me, just because I was younger. I was 8 when I moved here. So obviously, like, elementary school, and at that time, like, you're just like, oh, like I just want to make friends, talk to people. So the transition wasn't that difficult for me. And then my neighborhood, I guess, or the diversity. So I've always lived in New York City since I moved here. When I first moved here, I lived in mostly a white neighborhood around like a lot of Jewish people. And then the schools that I went to, like, it was very diverse, I guess. But for some reason during high school, I feel like I didn't meet that many Asian friends. It was always like, a lot of like Hispanic friends, a lot of African American friends, and then and then I moved. So where I live now, it's mostly an Asian neighborhood. So I live around a lot of different Asian people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Nice. Okay. So how would you describe the people in New York and like the city itself?
So I mean, there's a lot of nice people in New York, but there's also like you meet a lot of people who are also very rude and like just very selfish and like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but you obviously meet a lot of like really really nice people.
Mm-hmm.
And then here and there you'll meet and bump into people that aren't so nice and just very rude.
Got it. Okay, so let's move on to your education, like school life. So give us an overview of what you did and what you experienced from elementary school up until high school, and then I'll ask you specific questions based on what you say.
Okay. So when I moved here to New York, I was in 3rd grade. So obviously moving from the Philippines to New York, my English, like even though English is our second language, the grammar is very different. So like starting school here, my teacher at the time, she sent a message to my mom and was like, oh, like your daughter needs help with English, like her sentences are very run on. Which is why I started reading a lot of books. And then so I first got put into an ESL, like the English second language class. And then they did a test, and then they moved me to a more like honors class, I guess. So which is why my teacher was like, oh, like you kind of need to work on your grammar with your daughter and stuff like that. And then I moved to a different city, and I think where the second elementary school that I started, they were more welcoming. And then since I lived in that neighborhood for about like 10, 11 years, I knew most of the people. So I went to middle school with them as well. And then middle school is very weird. It was the phase where I started rebelling. I went through a lot during middle school just because of my dad moving away. So at like an early age, I went through depression, which caused me to just do a lot of stuff, like stupid stuff. And then that didn't get better up until, I guess, freshman year of high school, or like ending of freshman year of high school. And then during high school, I realized that I needed to change a lot of things. So I decided to join sports. I first started off with volleyball, and then I went into track. And then I realized that I wanted to try out lacrosse. So I did lacrosse during the spring, and lacrosse became my favorite and main sport at that time. So yeah.
Wow. Okay. So that was like a good overview of everything you went through up until like the end of high school, right?
Mm-hmm. So during high school, I mainly just did sports.
Mm-hmm. Aside from sports, did you have to do any like clubs and activities for volunteering credits and stuff like that, or?
Not really. So clubs for my high school wasn't really mandatory. It was just like, oh, if you wanted to join a club, like you're more than welcome to. If you wanted to join the student council, you're more than welcome to. But it was never like my thing. I was always just focused on doing sports, whether it be volleyball, track, or like lacrosse. Also, just because like we had practice almost every day, and then we would have games like 2 or 3 times a week. So yeah.
Okay, so how were you academically since elementary to high school?
Hmm. Um, I think I was always like average. Um, Even during like middle school, and then in high school, I realized that like average isn't gonna cut it if I wanted to get into a good college. So I started focusing a lot more on like getting my grades back up, and then I did that during junior year and senior year of high school. I got my grades back up to an A, almost straight A's. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, let's get into the sports, like more details. So let's start with volleyball.
Mhm.
How did you get yourself into volleyball? What experiences did you go through? And do you have like a specific favorite memory?
Um, hmm. Volleyball at my high school is very weird. So I got into it because I don't know. I was like, oh, I feel like I played volleyball before, so and I'm pretty decent at it. So I was like, oh, let me go try out and see like how will I do. I got into the team. So that was junior varsity volleyball. I got into the team, and then I made it to the starters, I guess. Um, and then for some reason, like I was good at like um, like I forgot the word. I guess like get it like picking up the ball and kind of like setting the ball. But since I'm short, like it was very hard for me to know how to hit the ball and like spike the ball. But my serves for some reason, like I never learned how to serve underhand, and so I would always serve overhand. But my serves are like always really powerful, and my coach would always like be like, "What the heck?" Like, what, how do you serve so like hard? Like, do you know how to control it? But at that time I was like, okay, like, I just started, so I had to practice on that.
Mhm.
Like my serves would literally be from like I would be standing by the door at the end of one gym, and it would still go to like the other side of like the wall.
Jeez.
um but yeah, and then varsity for me was very weird because we had to switch coaches multiple times, and then each coach would always like have their like favorite players, I guess. So I did varsity for 2 years. The first year, the coach for some reason like didn't really like me, so she put me as a starter, and then she switched me out because I don't know, because of like one mistake, but like everyone make a mistake on the court, So she took me out, and she never put me back in like to play. And so that was for the rest of the season, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, why am I here then? What's the point? And then my second year for volleyball, we had a different coach, and the coach actually liked me. But since he didn't really coach volleyball, he let another girl on the team kind of like run the team, like make the calls and like do everything, whatever. So obviously like she'd be like, oh, like I'll put this girl before you, or like put this girl before you, and it was always like a switch up. So it was very weird. But I guess my favorite memory for volleyball would be just meeting new people, meeting like new friends, and like a lot of those friends that I've made are still my friends now, like actually my actual close friends.
Nice. How did your school compare to others in the district?
We would always be like in the top threes, I guess, compared to like all the schools in our division. So I think there would be about 4 or 5. I think 5 or 6 schools in a division, and then we'd always make it to top 3. Do I still play volleyball? No, I don't play volleyball anymore, Dan.
Okay. Nice. Good talk on volleyball. Let's move on to track. Alright,
Oh,
so
no.
the same thing for track. So how'd you get into it? favorite memory and just talk about the experiences.
So for track, it wasn't my first option. I feel like I needed something to do for winter. So I decided to just join track so that I had something to do just to like stay fit and active. During my first season, I really enjoyed it. I was a sprinter, rather than a long distance runner. And then I don't know, after my first season doing track, I kind of just got tired of it, like running for no purpose. And then yeah, so I slowly stopped coming to practice as much. And then I slowly stopped going to our track meets. And then yeah, I switched over to lacrosse after that. But my favorite memory for track was definitely the adrenaline when you're running for your track meets, especially during sprinting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
All right. Now for your main sport, lacrosse.
Yes.
Go for it.
Okay. So, lacrosse, I don't know. I've always wanted to try it out. Like, you know, growing up, I watched Teen Wolf, and I was like, oh, lacrosse is so cool. So, but the thing is, I had a family friend on the lacrosse team who I used to go to church with, and she's very like serious when it comes to sports. So I was always very intimidated when, you know, I was around her. So I waited until she graduated to join the team, and then I tried out. And every time I go to visit my coach, and he like tells his new players, he's always like, oh, like when I first met Ian, she couldn't pick up the ball with the lacrosse stick. She couldn't do this and that. But, you know, like with practice, I learned how to play within like a couple of weeks. I went from sitting out of games to making it to the starting position within like just 2-3 games. So I picked up the sport very fast, which is also why like it became my main sport. I love the adrenaline of like being able to run up and down the field and like throw the ball across the field and like be able to catch it and like be able to like throw it to another teammate and like seeing them catch it, and then like just going into the goal and like attacking the goal and making like, you know, scoring. So it was just, the adrenaline was like just really good. But yeah, I definitely picked up lacrosse very quickly. I kept practicing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, lacrosse, like I love lacrosse, and I actually wanted to play lacrosse during college, but my mom said no.
I see. So in lacrosse, considering that you improved like a lot, like how good would you say you were compared to everyone?
I think, well, okay, so I played lacrosse for 2 years total. My senior year, I was voted captain. So, and then during my senior year, my last year for playing high school lacrosse, I made it to number 1 assists in basically the whole city.
Wow.
So yeah, I love lacrosse so much.
Okay, if that's the case, like I'm someone who doesn't have a lot of knowledge when it comes to lacrosse. What advice would you give to people who are trying to improve or just get better in general in lacrosse?
Honestly, like just pick up the stick, and so one of the main things that you need to do, or like be able to know how to do when playing lacrosse, is basically just scoop the ball from like the floor, I guess, or the grass, the field. And there is like proper ways to do it. So if you don't like keep practicing how to do that, then like it's going to be very hard when you're going against like other teams. So you literally just need to you literally just need to learn how to like keep the ball from the field. And then like it's also good to have another like teammate or like another person there to be able to like learn how to throw properly and catch properly, because so lacrosse is basically like soccer, but with a small ball and a lacrosse stick. So instead of kicking the ball around, you throw it and catch it. So it's very like important to know how to do those things.
I see. Okay. And how physical can lacrosse get? Have people like gotten injured often or what?
So the girls lacrosse and boys lacrosse is very different. Boys lacrosse, like boys can hit each other as hard, not as hard, but like as many times as they want to.
Mm-hmm.
But when it came to girls lacrosse, especially during high school, just one contact, like freaking, the referee will blow her whistle or like his whistle and be like, oh, like that's a foul, and then the ball will go over to like the other team or whatever. So it's supposed to be a contact sport, but when it came to girls, there wasn't really much contact.
Mm-hmm. And lastly, do you have like a favorite highlight or memory, specifically something you did in lacrosse?
Honestly, so for every sport, almost every sport here in New York or like New York City, they do a what is it called? They do a mayor's cup, which is basically like you try out for the teams, and it's the top players in the city get to play in mayor's cup.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the time that I had mayor's cup, they switched the rules around, and the teams were made very differently compared to how they usually made it. So our team lost like really badly, but so I think in total we only made 2 goals, and one of those goals was for me. So I think that was one of my favorite highlights of playing lacrosse.
Okay. Alright, so out of curiosity, how does the school system work in New York? Like, for example, I have a cousin that lives there, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you go to school, like, how do you transition from middle school to like high school? Is it like based on where you live, or can you just go anywhere?
So it's mostly based on where you live. You get assigned to school, a district of whatever. So at the time, there was a high school that was about a 10-minute walk from me. So I automatically got placed into that school. So it was always based on the distance of how far you are from a certain school. But you can also, so we have specialized high schools.
Mm-hmm.
You can apply to those, and you can, what do you call this? You can apply, you can audition to those schools. So yeah, but it's mostly just based on where you live.
Okay. Alright, so how would you categorize yourself as a person in school? Like, what was your high school stereotype, in your opinion?
I don't know. So I don't really like attention. But I hung out with, like, I guess the more popular groups just because because of my teams, like, you know, playing sports and stuff like that. But I also just like try to like keep to myself. A lot of friends that I made in freshman year, I stopped talking to them, and then I made new friends going into volleyball, going into track, and going into lacrosse, and I stuck with those friends. But it was also because I was dating someone, and then just the friend thingy like just didn't work out.
Okay, so if like a random kid looked at you, he would refer to you as the popular kid.
I guess maybe.
Okay.
I also have a really bad like RBF face. So a lot of people will just look at me and be like, oh, she looks kind of mean.
Got it. Just needed to confirm. Okay. So, throughout your life, have you ever sustained any severe injuries?
No, not severe. I got a concussion in high school once doing something stupid. And I think that was it.
Do you want to tell a story?
Sure. So one of my friends, So in between breaks, going from one class to another, a lot of people just hang around in front of the auditorium. And one of my friends was like playing around with me, and she like was hugging me from the back, but she was like jumping up and down. But obviously, like there's a lot of people, and I think she like tripped on something, and she ended up dragging me down with her.
Oh no.
And I went head down first, like the back of my head down first onto the like tile floor. So
Oh.
yeah, and then like the pain was so bad, like it felt like the inside of my head was bleeding. But yeah, so and then I actually didn't want to tell my mom, but I told my coach, my track coach, and then she called my mom. So then my mom ended up taking me to the hospital to get it checked out.
Oh,
And then
wow.
yeah, so I ended up with a concussion.
Man, that's crazy. Accidents. Okay, so aside from injuries, have you ever found yourself in a physical altercation, so like a fight?
Yes, once during high school. It was the group of friends that I used to hang around with. Very rowdy, very like open to their opinions. So at the time it was, but these are my friends from like middle school. So, you know, like I already knew how they were, and I think one of them got into like an argument with one of the Hispanic girls in our school, and it just turned into like this whole big fight. So after school we kind of just like went down the block and just started fighting each other, and I remember just stomping on someone, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But that was it.
You mean like a brawl?
Yeah, it was basically like a brawl.
Gee. Okay.
And I was wearing Timberlands, so I felt so bad after, and I was like, oh my god.
Got it. Alright. So, wait, you guys didn't get in trouble for that? Because it was like in a block away or what?
No, not really.
Alright, aside from fights, have you ever encountered any sort of bullying?
Not really. I don't think so. If anything, I think the biggest thing would just be like, during when playing sports, going against other teams. So our lacrosse team consisted with a lot of Asians, and so did our volleyball team. So like when we go to another school and the ratio of the diversity is different, sometimes just like, oh, like you guys are Asian, like whatever, they'll make fun of us for just being Asian. I think that was it.
Jeez, okay. Alright, and to, I guess finish off like your high school and under life, out of all that, do you have like one random favorite memory to tell us? It's on the spot, so it's okay if you don't have anything.
I think just being able to just hang out with my friends. Yeah, that's mainly it. Like, I enjoy being around my friends. I enjoy being and like doing stuff with my friends. So that's mainly just it.
Alright, talk about the transition from high school to college. So what was that like for you, and what did you end up like deciding to do?
Oh jeez. Okay. So the transition from high school to college. So like I said earlier, I wanted to play lacrosse in college. And I also wanted to dorm. Just to get away from like being at home and like having a new environment and learning how to do things on my own. But my mom didn't really approve of it. So she didn't want me to leave this. She didn't want me to dorm. She said it was very expensive, and like if I ever needed her, she'd be really far away. And then she also said that if I did lacrosse in college, I wouldn't be able to focus on my studies as much. So I ended up just applying to schools in the city, and then she mentioned that there is this one school that one of her coworkers' daughter went to, and it's a really good school for accounting. So I applied there, and then I ended up getting in, but I also got into my number one top school that I wanted to go to, which is also another private college. It was Pace University, but the thing is with that is that the tuition is very expensive, and my financial aid didn't cover as much, so I couldn't go there. And then, so the school that I went to, they offered me a 50% scholarship at first, and then they offered for me to take another exam so that they can see if I can get a full ride scholarship. So I took the exam. I think the first time that I took it, I was like, what is this? Like, why am I taking a test? So I kind of just like BS'd it. But the second time I took it, I was okay, whatever. Like, I'll just take it seriously. I ended up getting 100 on it. And then I ended up getting the full ride scholarship. And just because I had a full ride scholarship, my mom is very like hard on me. She's like, oh, you have to maintain your grades, you have to do this and that, like you can't lose your scholarship. So going into college, like it was definitely a lot more pressure. Just keeping my grades up, just focusing on just school. And so my first semester, I got my final grades at the end of the semester. My mom expected me to get a 4.0 for some reason. She was like, oh, like, you know, you have to get a 4.0 just to keep your scholarship. And I was like, okay, like that's very hard. And I remember getting a B in one of my classes. And so it was like, I took 5 classes. I ended up getting a B in one class. And all my other classes were A's. And I remember like going up to my mom and having to explain to her that I didn't get a 4.0 and I got like a 3.9 or whatever it was, and like crying because I know she expected a lot and she expected me to get a 4.0. And like I was just sitting there and I just crying my eyes out. I was like, Mom, like I don't know if I can like keep doing this, like the pressure is like a lot, whatever. But I stuck with it. I literally just focused on school, and then eventually like I ended up picking up a part-time job, 2 part-time jobs, without telling my mom, because I don't like asking my parents for money. I like being able to fend for myself, and I know if she knew that I was working, she'd like get upset. So I didn't tell her up until I graduated. And I was like, look, like, you know, I was able to get this like GPA while working. Like I don't know why you were so worried. But throughout college, I graduated from my bachelor's within 2.5 years, and then I graduated with a 3.9 GPA. So yeah.
Dang, that's insane. When did you graduate?
I graduated in 2020, spring of 2020.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was it like to go through school during COVID?
I actually didn't end up going to school during COVID. I had trimesters, so my last semester ended like right before COVID started, or like I guess like a month into COVID, so it wasn't that bad. Yeah. And then my last semester, I decided to join a sorority, like, and I ended up pledging during COVID. So that was kind of like weird.
Ooh, do you want to talk about that experience? Like expectations versus what you went through?
Yeah, so the first few meetings that we had when I joined a sorority, everything was in person. So like I kind of just expected to just keep meeting in person, but like since we went into almost like a full lockdown, we couldn't. And even the sisters of sorority, like my pledge mom and like my pledge dads, since like it was the first time transitioning to everything online, they honestly like didn't know what to do either. So it was just kind of weird. Like it took a while to get things into order, and I wanted to give up so badly, but I already like made all of these connections and like met all these people, and I didn't want to give up on them and like give up on myself. So I stuck it out until the end. And yeah.
Jeez. Okay. In that sorority system, is that like where you also have like a big and little type of thing, or
Yes.
grand?
Yes.
Are you like still in touch with those people?
Yeah. So I love my big. I love my G big. They're one of the most down to earth people I've met. A lot of the sisters that I met through like sorority.
Mhm.
A lot of them are very down to earth. I am very close with a lot of them. I'm actually still active in my sorority at the moment and
Wow.
hold like several positions. But yeah, so I love the sisters. They're all very down to earth.
Mhm.
Yes.
I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but what field did you graduate?
Oh,
in?
I graduated in accounting. So I actually
Accounting,
didn't
okay.
want to go. I didn't know what I wanted to go to in college. My mom
Mhm.
was like, "Oh, you're good in math," and I was like, "Am I? Like, I don't think so." But I stuck with accounting because by the time I realized that I didn't want to do it, it was kind of already too late. So I stuck it out, and then now I'm in grad school for accounting as well, and I hate it.
You hate it? Oh no. That's tough. Okay. Here you go. So that's accounting. Let's talk about your work experiences now.
Mhm.
Alright, so go from beginning. The first job you've ever had. How'd you land it? What was it like? And you could talk about the transition if you've had more than one.
So I actually picked up a summer camp job when I was 13. So that was my first ever job. I worked at a summer camp as a counselor. It was very weird because the school that I got assigned to, or the camp that I got assigned to, was my middle school. So I basically freaking knew all the people that were going to camp, and they were literally around my age. And it was so weird, like having to like tell them what to do or like what not to do. And then for about two, for about 3 years after, I just kept applying to like summer camps. So I did that for a while, and then I think maybe ending on my freshman year of high school or sophomore year, one of my friends hit me up, and she was like, "Oh, like we're looking for people." And it was a not a restaurant, I guess kind of like a small business restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were doing an event at the US Open. So I applied and I got it, and then I ended up working for that business for up until this year, I guess. So I worked with them for a while. So during COVID, that small business that I actually worked for, which is kind of like a restaurant, it shut down because, we couldn't go out. We couldn't really go outside, and like businesses were slow. And then this summer they opened up like kind of like a seasonal event thing, and they opened up a beer garden. So I was working with them for a while. That was pretty fun. But it was just the hours were kind of crazy because we worked in K-Town, which we would get off at like 1 a.m. sometimes 2 a.m. And I live about an hour away from the city, so yeah. And then but during my undergrad I was working, so the business name is named Kurla. It's like Korean food.
Okay.
And then I picked up another like a second job through my other friend, which is it was basically also like Korean food and then like poke. So here and there I would do events for Kurla, which is like Anime Con, Comic Con. I forgot the one that's like for KCON. And then like US Open, and then like during the weekdays I would do the other one, which is Red Poke. So my undergrad was kind of busy. I was trying to manage school, I was trying to manage my social life, and then I was trying to manage work. And then for one of them, so when Kurla, like their scheduling was always very like free. If you couldn't come into work, you couldn't come into work. But my other job, they only had a certain amount of people just set like perfectly for the schedule. So if you couldn't come into work or like you had something come up, like you either had to find a cover, and if you couldn't find a cover, you had to work your shift. And sometimes like I would tell my managers like, oh, I can't work on this day because I have this and that, and they'll be like, okay. And then when a schedule comes out, they'll still put me on schedule, and I'm like, what the fuck, I can't work this day. So eventually I got tired of doing that, and I was like, I can't, like I gotta go. So yeah. And then currently still job searching for an accounting job. So
Okay. Accounting.
yes, accounting's hard.
Do you have any interesting stories since you worked basically at a restaurant? Encounters with coworkers or even customers? Those type of interactions?
Just a lot of stupid customers. Obviously, like restaurants, you have like, what is it called? My brain is not working. It's like I guess like what ingredients and like whatever is in the food. It was always posted on the wall, and like if you needed to look at it, like it was always there. Like you could always ask the workers, and like sometimes freaking customers would just be like, oh my god, is this gluten free? And or like, is this vegan or is this like vegetarian? And we'll tell them that it's not, and then we'll also tell them to look at the thing that's on the wall, and then they'll go right into asking again. I'm like, you literally just looked at it. And then there was this one time there was a customer, so it was just me and my manager. She asked me if it was gluten free and if it was like vegetarian, I think, and she was also allergic to something. So we made sure to get new ingredients from the back. But while like my other coworker was making her bowl, she was like, why are you guys going back and forth between like the back and like the front? Like, what are you guys doing to my bowl? Blah blah blah. Like, are you putting something weird in there? Like, what if I can't eat this? Or like, what if I end up have to like go to the hospital? And we were like, bro, like we're literally getting you new ingredients for your bowl. Like, we never do this. And she was like, no, I want a refund. And I looked at my manager and I was like, I'm literally like, if she doesn't move or like go away, I'm literally gonna get into an argument with her. So my manager ended up taking over, and then he ended up getting into an argument with her. And I was like, okay then. And then she left.
Good old customer service stories, honestly. Alright, so to summarize your work experiences, what would you want people to know about the customer service industry, especially when it comes to food? Like, good to know things.
You need a lot of patience. And then you also need to be able to work, I guess it depends on like what restaurant you're working for. You need to be able to like work fast, be able to do things like, I don't know, be able to manage doing several things at the same time. And you also you need to know like what your food ingredients are, because if you don't, then like customers ask and then you don't know what goes into your food, you're just gonna be like, what the fuck?
Okay, so how about the flip side, from an outside perspective? Like, what should customers know about people that are working in the food industry?
So what should people know about working in the food industry?
Like, for example, I've had previous guests say that customers should know that if food is being delayed or something, it's not the server's fault. You know, that's just an example.
Oh, I don't know. I guess so. From experience, I guess, it's more than likely that like obviously there's people coming into the restaurant, there's people ordering in person, but there's also like we also get a lot of like deliveries. So obviously, like, if you're coming in person, we prioritize like making your food first, but at the same time, like, we have to also prioritize making the food for the deliveries, because if not, then we'll get just several phone calls and complaints as well. So you kind of just be patient.
Okay, let's transition to more of the social aspects in your life. Okay, so let's briefly talk about your party phase first.
Oh god.
What do you have to say about that in general?
Oh god.
And you could talk about all of your experiences.
Okay. So I turned 21 during COVID. So my birthday's in January. COVID started in what, like, ending of February, March. But before that, like, Starling Clarice, she's a year older, so she would always, whenever we would go out after like work or after school, we'd always like get alcohol, whatever, just drink while we're eating. But during this year, during the summer, I kind of just started going out to like clubs with sisters, or just like with mostly now with Clarice. So since August, kind of just been going almost every weekend. So that's also why, like, I'm like, I need a break. I can't do it anymore. But yeah, I've encountered a lot of weird men and very persistent men during those times. Yeah, there's like some that made me really uncomfortable. I've had to get a guy kicked out of the club once or twice before, just because they were kind of just harassing me. So I met this one guy, like, he seemed pretty chill. And then, but I don't know. So like, I meet guys, and then like, I'm always very like, it's trust issues. Like, oh, like, what's your intention? What do you want to do? Like, what are you looking for? So every time, like, someone always like a guy would be like, oh, like, do you want to hang out? Or like, let's meet up like now. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, right now, or like whatever. So I always just kind of flake, and I'm like, oh, I have stuff to do, I can't do it. And then if they become too persistent, like, I just ignore the messages and I don't respond anymore. So that one guy, like, I guess he goes to that same club. Like, we've been going to the same club almost for like 2-3 months now. So that guy, like, he goes there also. There's this, so the first time I met him, actually, it was kind of a red flag already. I was with Clarice and I was with my other friends, and he like tried to pull me away from my friends, and I was like, oh, like, I'm already with someone. And he was like, oh, like, where is he? And I was like, oh, he went to the bathroom. And the guy was like, oh, well, he's not here right now. And then he tried to pull me away, and Clarice, like, I was like, Clarice, like, hold on to me, like, what the fuck is this guy trying to do? And then that, like, couple of seconds that Clarice wasn't looking, he like pulled me away, and then Clarice had to like go looking around the entire club just to find me, and like to like get me out. And then the second time that I ran into him again, I was with one of my kiddos from my sorority, and you know, like, we were drinking, whatever, and then he pulled me out of the club, but my phone was dead, and so I couldn't contact my kiddo, and I was like, bro, like, I need to get back upstairs. They were literally like, she was literally looking for me for so long, almost an hour, and she couldn't find me. Then eventually, like the guy was like, oh, I just want to talk to you. Like, we were talking, and he was trying to tell me what his intentions were, and I was like, no, like, I know, like, you just want to fuck around, like, whatever. I was like, just leave me alone. So when I finally like saw my kiddo again, I was like, bro, like, what the fuck? I was like, he literally wouldn't let me leave when my phone was dead, and I felt so bad because she was looking for me for almost like an hour, and it was like 3 a.m. And so after that happened, I let the bouncers I let the bouncers know, like, oh, like, if you guys see him, like, try, like, you know, don't let him like come in or like whatever. And then we ran into him a third time, and one of our friends, our friend bouncers, because so those same bouncers work for our beer garden as well, like where I was working before. So we already knew them, and then I told him that the guy was there, and he was like, oh, like, I'll look out for him. If I see him, like, I'll kick him out. But the thing is like, obviously, like, if you're getting a table, if you're getting bottle service, like, it's very hard because you're spending money at that club. So they let him back in. And almost the entire night, like, this man just kept trying to follow me everywhere, and I was like, bro, like, I can't. I was having I was having anxiety, and I was like, what the fuck. But yeah, met a lot of red flags.
That was one of the stories. That's a hell of a story.
Yeah. So, and then, but yeah, so we go almost every weekend. I haven't been going out that much recently. Also because I don't know, for some reason I get sick almost every month. So I need a break.
I see. Man, so like the dudes would legit just grab you away from your group and just pull you aside?
Yeah, there's a lot of just people like that at the clubs here, or like at that one club we go to. Like, I don't know. So there was another time I went with one of the sisters as well. It was during Halloween, actually. So I was supposed to hang out with Clarice and our other friend, but one of the sisters, like, she wanted to do something for Halloween and she wanted to go out. But I told her, like, oh, I'm not going out to the club today. Like, I'm just chilling, you know. But I felt bad because I know, like, she went out just to, like, go have fun. And she kept asking me if we can try going to the club, even though the lines were long. And just because we're girls, like, we ended up getting in. We ended up skipping the line in front of the guys. And then it was just, like, I was standing there by the bar, like, chilling, because one of the sisters, like, she was already, like, talking to a guy. But I was like, oh, like, I'm just here to, like, you know, make sure, like, you're okay. I was in there for, like, 10 minutes. And then some guy came up to me and he tried to kiss me, and I was like, wait. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? And then I was like, no. And he like kept trying to talk to me, and I was like, no. So he left. And I think, like, where I was standing, him and his friends had, like, a table there. So the entire time, like, he was just staring at me, and I was like, and I told one of the sister's friends, and I was like, bro, like, can you like switch spots with me, because this guy keeps, like, looking at me, he keeps trying to go behind me. And eventually I told the sister, and I was like, well, I have to go home. So I stayed in there for, like, not even, like, 10 minutes or maybe less. Yeah.
Hell of a story. A lot of encounters like that, huh?
Yeah. Sadly.
Do you prefer clubbing or raving, personally?
I prefer raving. I feel like the people you meet at raves and, like, festivals, they're a lot nicer, they're a lot more chill. You know, because you're just there to vibe. Like, people go to clubs to, like, with the I don't know, with the, I guess, intention of, like, meeting someone or, like, finding someone most of the time. I'm not saying, like, for everyone, you know. Like, obviously there's people there just to hang out with their friends and have a good time as well, but I feel like at raves and festivals you meet a lot more chill people that are just there just to vibe.
Okay, before we get more into that, do you have, like, any other stories from, like, I guess, crazy club experiences or whatever sort parties?
I do. Okay.
Go for it. It's no worries. This is your podcast.
So I guess, like, this one night, I don't know, you know, my friends and I were just there chilling, and then we were actually just about to leave, and I made eye contact with this guy, and he was actually, like, cute, and I was like, and he started dancing with me, and I was like, oh, like, I have to go. And so we were actually going up to the karaoke / like, club upstairs just to, like, you know, chill in the karaoke room. And he ended up coming with me, but the entire time, like, he kept trying to do stuff with me. I was like, no, like, hello, like, what the fuck, like, we're in public, and I'm not that type of person either. So I was like, no. And then he just kept trying, and he ended up, like, following me to my friend's place too, and then my friend had to like kick him out because he we were literally just sitting there. He was like trying to do stuff, and I was like, no, I'm not doing anything with you. And then my friend had to like kick him out.
Wait, at your friend's place?
Yeah.
He went all the way to your friend's place.
Yeah.
What the?
And then for like maybe almost a month, he just kept hitting me up. He's like, oh, do you want to hang out? Like he was like, oh, we don't have to hang out at my place. Like we would just go do stuff and go hang out. And then I was always like, yeah, like sure. But like very last minute, I would always flake and be like, okay, never mind. Like I don't want to go anymore. Like I have something to do.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then eventually, like last weekend, I was like, oh, like I don't know what you're looking for, but if you're looking for someone to just fuck around with, I was like, I'm on it. And he was like, okay, like we can just be friends. And I was like, okay, chill.
Oh no, you still see him at the club.
No, actually, I have not. So, the last rave that I went to, I wasn't supposed to go. So I went to RL Grime. I wasn't supposed to go. But my like Clarice and my other friends and like they went to the club, and I actually ended up running into him. And thank God, like I ended up going to RL Grime.
Mm-hmm. Okay, any other stories before talking about like the raves and stuff?
No.
Okay. I mean, I'm glad you still enjoy clubbing.
Here and there.
Yeah. Alright, so what was your first rave experience like?
Okay, so who was my first DJ that I saw? It might have been Adventure Club. But so the first time, my friends and I just wanted to try it out, and I actually like never listened. Like I have listened to EDM before, but like not that much, So we were at the rave, and I was standing there, and I was like, how do people vibe to this music? I was like, I can't do it. Like it's just not me. So like I didn't have that much fun during my first rave. And then we went to another one maybe like 2 months later, and I think that was Laserface. I enjoyed it a lot more than my first one, just because a few of our other friends came too, but at the same time, like, and then they also played some music that I actually knew, compared to my first rave. So yeah, so I enjoyed my second one, and then it was a while up until like later on we went to another rave. But during that time that we took a break, I started listening to more EDM, and I started to get more into it. And I actually like really like fuck with the music, and like I just enjoyed it. So that's kind of how like my raving addiction started. During the end of 2019, my friends and I just went to like a shit ton of raves. I think we went to like 4 or 5 within a span of like 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And then my friends and I are actually talking about it recently, and we were like, oh, I feel like when we first started raving during 2019, like the experiences were a lot better and more enjoyable. Mm-hmm. Not to say that like we don't have like the time of our lives like now going to raves, or like we don't enjoy it, but it's just I think I said that like it's just because we know what to expect now compared to like when we first started raving, But yeah.
Do you have a favorite event that you've been to so far?
Slander, definitely one of my top 3s. I'll just list on my top 3. So Slander, Seven Lions, and Jaws.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. So those are your top 3 events and artists, or is that what you're saying, or what?
Top 3 events for now. I also enjoyed going to the festival, which is Izu. Yeah. So top 3 right now is Slander, Seven Lions, and Jaws.
Who would your favorite artist be as of now?
Slander. Who else? Arm & Hammer. Excision. A lot of bass and headbangers.
Radiant headbanger. Do you have a favorite EDM song as of now?
Yes, it's. Oh, I think it's called Red Eye by Troy Boy and Justin Bieber. For some reason, like I kind of just like the beat a lot.
Okay.
Is it called Red Eye? Yes, it's called Red Eye.
Nice. Okay, so other than your crazy club experiences and stuff like that, more so on partying, what type of person are you at parties? And also, what type of drunk would you consider yourself?
I actually was just explaining this to Matt the other day. So, when I'm with my closest friends, so Clarice and like I guess like Nora, and like my other close friends, since I know they'll take care of me. So okay, wait. Let me track back. So my tolerance for alcohol is actually pretty high. So I'm either really sober or I'm really fucked up. So there's no in between.
Okay.
So when I'm with my really close friends, I know they'll take care of me. So like, you know, like I just drink. But when I'm with like when I know that I have to be responsible for someone and I know that I have to take care of someone, I'll drink and still like be aware and like be able to take care of them as well. But yeah, and I don't know, I didn't know that I was a pretty loud drunk up until like my birthday last year.
Ooh, okay, so the loud type, huh?
But I also like there's times where like I kind of just want to roam around and be on my own. So my Clarice has actually lost me like twice at the club before because I decided to go outside and just like walk around on my own because I needed some air.
A loud adventurer. Okay. Alright, talk about your first time drinking alcohol. What was that experience like and what was it?
It might have been during high school. One of my really close friends, he used to throw a birthday party at his place every year, and I think it was soju. I don't know, I don't remember what exactly it was, but I'm pretty sure it was soju. And that was when I first I was like, this kind of just tastes like juice. I don't really taste the alcohol. And that's how I found out that like my alcohol tolerance is pretty high. But within like those years, I've actually we were getting older, we started to buy more like hard liquor and stuff like that. And there's times where I've thrown up. Yeah. So I think the other time that I remember was someone freaking pouring a Henny bottle dirt down my mouth, and then I ended up blacking out.
Oh shoot. Okay, so what's your favorite alcohol to drink and least favorite as of now?
My favorite is vodka, and my least is honey. I love vodka.
Alright, transitioning over from the party talks and stuff, let's talk about some of your interests. So you mentioned that you're big on shows. Are you also big on like anime and movies?
So I'm actually more big on K-dramas rather than shows and animes. I've watched a couple of animes, but I've watched a shit ton of K-dramas.
I see. Okay, let's do a top 5 of every category. So we could do K-drama, anime, shows, and even movies if you want to do that.
I don't really watch a lot of movies.
Okay, that's fine.
So a lot more in K-dramas, I guess. So wait, so list out my top shows.
Top 5,
or whatever,
yeah.
In like each category. Okay. Fuck, off the top of my head.
Yep.
Okay, so for K-dramas, top one or number one has to be Goblin. The second one is Flower of Evil, and then it's Descendants of the Sun. And I think my fourth might be My Neighbor is Gumiho, and then fifth. I can't remember right now. Okay. Hold on, I got this. The fifth, I guess Hotel de Luna. And then for animes, number one has to be Inuyasha, and then second one is Haikyuu. I think those are really the only two animes I really like sat down and watched so far. I like Hunter x Hunter, so I guess I only have 3.
Okay.
And then for TV shows, one is Supernatural, and then 2 is Shameless. 3 is Bones. And then Vampire Diaries. My fifth one. I think I only have 4.
That's okay.
And then for movies, I don't really watch a lot of movies. Top one, Harry Potter series.
Which Harry Potter did you like the most?
Chamber of Secrets, and then the last Harry Potter movie.
It's Deathly Hallows Part 2 or something?
Yeah.
Got it.
What other movies have I watched? I watch a lot of horror movies, if I guess that counts. I can't remember the titles at the moment.
It's okay. Just like a small talk in regards to some shows you mentioned. Since you like the Vampire Diaries, do you like the originals?
Ooh, yes, I do. But I never got to finish it.
Favorite character from that series? Vampire Diaries.
Damon.
Okay. Did you finish Supernatural? Oh, sorry. Were you gonna say something?
I was gonna say, and then for the originals, it's what's his name? Elijah.
Okay.
I think I'm on the last season for Supernatural. For some reason, like I used to watch it like religiously, but after season 9 or season 10, the show it just kind of got really, really boring, so I never got to finish it.
Fair point. Okay. Are you more into Dean or Sam?
I'm more into Dean.
Got it. Alright. I'm gonna use the restroom real quick, but just to let you know, we're gonna talk more on like relationships after. So.
Oh no. Okay.
Alright, guys. I'll be right back. If you're staying, you could keep chat entertained.
Okay. Was Dean, is he a K-pop rapper? No. This is our time chat. Yo, what's up, Ian? How you feeling, bro? I'm still hella nervous. I gotta talk about my relationships. What? I'm a big fan. I'm a bigger fan. No. I'm a big fan of you guys. What you mean? Just summarize your relationship. Yikes. Guys, I'm still nervous. I was shaking earlier.
Are you fucking kidding me?
No, that's my brother. So can you answer me? Answer what? How am I feeling? Or, oh, is your brother playing League? Yes, he is. Do you not hear him molding? I know Wilson's handsomeness makes everyone nervous. I know, right? Bro, if you hear someone yelling in the back and just someone cursing, it is my brother playing League. He's literally right next to me. Hi, Eunice. Hello. Big fan? No, I'm a big fan. Tell your brother to tone it down a little. I don't even know if you can hear me. You're doing so well. Thank you. Okay, Wilson's back, guys. Not the W spam.
What's up? Are you guys good?
Yeah. Playing League, red flag. Yes, red flag.
Okay. Now let's talk about relationships. So talk about whatever you consider as a relationship. It could be a crush, fling, whatever. Start from the beginning and talk about the experience.
Oh, okay. So my first ever actual relationship was sophomore year of high school. We were introduced by a friend. So at first I actually didn't like him. He wasn't my type. But the more we started to talk, the more that I saw that he's actually really, really nice. And he's actually really caring. So yeah, so we talked for a while, and then he ended up asking me out, and so we were together for about 4 years. But during those 4 years is actually really toxic. The first couple of months that we were together, I don't remember if he told me he was going to a party, but he ended up going to a party, and someone that I know, she went to our school too. I don't know if I'd consider her a friend, but I guess an acquaintance. So I found out from one of my close friends the next day that she kissed him or whatever happened, but he waited until the next day, or maybe 2 days after, to tell me. But okay, so for some reason, that day that he went to the party, I felt very uneasy. I knew something wrong was gonna happen. But yeah, and then I found out the next day that something did happen, and he didn't tell me right away. And I had to find out through a friend. But there was a lot of miscommunication between my friends and between him as well. So I don't, up to this day, I don't know the full story. I just know something happened, and that's kind of considered cheating, or it is cheating. And then, but I forgave him. We ended up just resolving it, and then after that, I kind of just stopped talking to those certain friends because with everything that happened, it just didn't end well. So, which is why I stopped talking to those friends, and I just started hanging out with people from the volleyball team, and my friends from the lacrosse team as well. Okay, if I get choosy. But okay, so I think a year in, it was during the summer, so he lives about almost an hour and a half away from me. So it was really hard to see each other during the summer. And I was working at a summer camp at the time with one of my close friends at the time, and she I don't know, for some reason I just felt me and him weren't talking as much anymore, something was off, so I knew something was wrong. That same day, my friend was like, oh, one of my friends showed me something on, like, you know, your current boyfriend at the time, like his Snapchat, and she's like, don't be mad, like, don't, you know, don't be sad, like, don't do all whatever. So she showed it to me, and it was him with another girl. Like, they were basically in like a whole other relationship, like, during that summer. And she lived in Georgia at the time, and she flew back to New York to, like, you know, visit her friends, visit her family here and stuff like that. And like, while she was here, they were basically having another relationship. And then, so I found that out, and I confronted him about it, and he was denying everything. He was like, no, like, it's not like that. So I asked my friend, like, oh, what's her Facebook? Like, I wanted to see who she was. Like, I didn't want to, like, talk to her, you know, whatever. But she hit me up out of nowhere, and she was like, oh, I heard you were looking for my Facebook. What's up? Like, what's the problem? And I was like, did you know that me and him were dating? And she was like, no. And I was like, okay, well, I didn't know you guys were dating either. And she was basically trying to fucking fight me, and I was like, why are you trying to fight me? So yeah, so we ended up breaking up. And then I don't know, I knew that, like, I didn't want to get back with him, but that's just because, like, that was my first actual relationship. It was kind of, like, hard to just let go. But for the rest of the summer, I was just chilling, and, like, when school was about to start, he texted me, and he was like, oh, like, can we work this out? Like, he was like, can we talk? And I was like, no, I don't want to talk to you. And he was like, well, if I see you in school tomorrow, like, I'm gonna talk to you. And I was like, no. Eventually I gave him another chance. We talked it out and, like, whatever. And so we ended up getting back together. And then, so that was September. Around December, I had gone over to his place, and he was like, we need to talk. And I was like, what the fuck happened now? Like, what did you do now? And he was like, okay, so, like, the time that we were broken up, I didn't know what to do, like, whatever, blah blah blah, like, some bullshit excuse. And he was like, I had a thing with this girl, and now she's telling me that she's pregnant. And I was like, what? Like, what the fuck do you mean? So yeah, I just kind of, I didn't know what to do. Like, you know, we already worked things out, and, like, him telling me that, like, I was just kind of just mind blown, like, what the fuck do I do in this situation? But me trying to see, like, the best in people, and, you know, I let it go again. Mm-hmm. And eventually, like, he graduated from high school, and then, like, he was a year older than me. So he graduated from high school. He had gone to college upstate, which is a couple of hours away. So we did long distance relationship. Up until to the point where I was kind of just like, oh, like, you know, like, I care about you a lot, but I don't think this is gonna work out for the both of us. But being that we were together for 4 years, like, it took me a moment to, like, tell him that I didn't want to be in a relationship anymore. When he came back from college to visit, I was like, well, I think we need to talk. And, like, we met up in person. I'm not a very confrontational person. It takes me a while to get whatever I want to get off my chest, and, like, to be able to talk about it, especially, like, when it comes to my feelings. So I was just standing there, and I was looking at him, and I just started bawling. I was crying. I was like, but I think he knew, like, what I had to say. And he was like, oh, like, do you just want to take a break for now? So I was like, yeah, sure. Because I didn't know how to get it out of me. I was like, yeah, sure. So I think we gave it about a week, and then I was like, oh, can we meet up again? Like, can we talk? And he was like, oh, like, if you're gonna break up with me, just let me know, like, now. He was like, there's no point in, like, meeting up anymore, because you already, like, showed me, or, like, you know, how you were acting the other day when we met up, like, you kind of already told me. And he was like, I'm pretty sure, like, you already found someone, or, like, you're talking to someone, which is why you're doing this. Like, what the fuck? And I was like, okay, like, whatever. So we broke up. A month later, I met someone. And we were talking, but while we were talking, him and his it was like there's a thing called like the volleyball community. So it was just a bunch of us who go to the recreational center and play volleyball. But some of them, they've been going there for a while. They know each other. They've gone to like school together. And him and his ex at that time, they were together for a while as well. But so while we were talking, there were a lot of like problems going on and like rumors going around. And he was always like, oh, like, don't put Ian's name into it. Like, she has nothing to do with it. So he was always like very protective of me. We basically spent the entire summer together. I would always like go over, like hang out with him, like sleep over or whatever. And then we ended up dating. And we dated for about a month. But within like those months, like he kind of showed me how someone's supposed to actually treat me compared to like how my ex from before treated me. And like I actually really really like I have nothing against him, but a month in, he ended up breaking with me. And I think that was one of the first times that I actually like experienced like a heartbreak, because everything was going so well, like everything was just good, like we never argued, like nothing. And then I don't know, he just broke up with me. And recently, I think like it was like last year, I found out that he broke up with me because he was going through personal problems. Like he was going through depression, like all that stuff. But knowing that, since he knows that like, oh, I'm the type of person who would do anything to like help someone out and like put someone first before myself, he didn't want me to do that for him, which is why he broke up with me. But it was just the fact that like it was just no explanation. So yeah, for about a year I was single, just chilling, doing my own thing. And then I reconnected with someone from my middle school who I actually like didn't like before, because I thought he was very like rude. But yeah, so we started talking, but I was like, trust issues. So we hung out once, and then since I'm always the type of person like, oh, like what's your intention, like what do you want from me? Like if you don't give me like that clear intention, like I'm not gonna take it seriously, So we went on a first date, and then I never texted him throughout like that week or 2 weeks, up until we went on a second date. We went to go watch a movie, and then afterwards, like we were just walking around the neighborhood, and he was like, how come like you never text me? Like if you're talking to someone, you're supposed to talk to them, like text them, but you don't do that. And I was like, well, I don't know what you want from me. And then so he was like, oh, well, I'm actually like looking for something serious, And I was like, okay, well, I didn't know that. Like he's also from, like he's a fraternity boy, and like I have my own opinions of how guys are from fraternities. So I was like, oh, you kind of look like a fuck boy. Like I don't know what your intentions are. So sorry, I was reading chat, but yeah. So we were together for about a year and a half. The relationship was good. We never really argued. But he had this problem. So like I said before, I'm very quiet, and unless I'm very comfortable, like I don't really talk a lot. So yeah, he had this problem with me where he was like, oh, like you never really talk. And I was like, well, you don't really talk to me either. Like what, I bring up stuff to talk about, and like you're not interested in talking about them. So what the fuck do you want me to talk about? And then he's also like, oh, like, I've brought you to meet my friends several times, but you never like really talk to them either. Like if you're hanging out with your friends and like you're bringing me along, obviously like I'll say hi, I'll make small conversations here and there, but if I'm sitting there and you guys are having a whole conversation, what do you expect me like to talk about with them? Like that sort of thing. And that was always such a big problem with him. He was like, oh, you never talk, you don't talk to my friends, you don't make the effort to talk to my friends. And I was like, those are your friends, those aren't my friends. But he never like made the effort to meet my friends either. Like the amount of times that I've tried to bring him along just to like meet my friends, he only like went once, and that was when we were talking. Like we weren't even dating yet. So yeah, so then that happened, and like we argued about it like what, like maybe 2 to 3 times. And then I think a couple months in, so he went to school upstate, and I would go visit him upstate here and there. And then there's one time where they had like an event to do, and I said that I would go visit because it's been a while since we saw each other. But I couldn't get out of work. It was that job where, you know, if I told them I couldn't come in for that day, and then sometimes they would schedule me, and I couldn't find a cover, like I would still have to work my shift. So I couldn't get out of work and I couldn't go. And I think at that time he was also going through something. And yeah, so we ended up breaking up, and we broke up. And a couple months, and he would text me like after we broke up, be like, oh, like I miss you, like this and that. And I was like, why are you doing this? Like, we're broken up, you know? Sorry, hold on.
You're okay.
Hold on.
Yeah, get some water.
Yeah, so he would do that when they would like throw parties at the fraternity house or whatever, and like while he was like fucked up. And then like the next morning when he was sober, he was like, oh, like I'm sorry, like I didn't mean to do that, you know? Like he was like, I miss you, but like I don't think this is the right time to be together. And eventually we ended up getting back together, but it was never like really the same. There was always like, I don't know, we would always argue about the same thing over and over again that we already like try to fix. And it was always him saying that I'm not making the effort to do this and that, but I felt like I was putting in more effort just to make things okay between us. And yeah, so eventually we just broke up. I'm currently just chilling at the moment, not really talking to anyone, so
All right, so that was the relationship experiences.
yeah. So I dated someone for 4 years, a month, and then like a year and a half. And they were all pretty toxic, so
Okay, so what dating advice would you give to other people, just in general, based on your own personal experiences?
I feel like if you're getting a relationship, like it's always good to learn more about each other first before like committing to each other. And then you have to be patient with each other. Like you can't always just expect one person to like put more effort in than the other one. It always goes both ways. And then communication is also a big thing. Like if you're not communicating with each other and like, you know, you're uncomfortable or like you're having problems about something, like I feel like you should talk about it instead of just like brushing it off. Because I don't know, I'm the type of person, like I said before, I don't like confrontations. Sometimes I feel like if I just brush it off, like it'll just fix itself, you know, but it doesn't. So you have to like communicate, and like effort has to be equal for both sides. Yeah.
Nice, great advice. So when you felt like you were at your lowest, you know, from heartbreak and all that, how did you pull yourself out?
So my first, I guess. Oh wait, okay, hold on. So my most recent ex, we broke up, whatever. But during the summer, we reconnected. We hung out like maybe like 2 or 3 times, and then yeah, it didn't work out. So we saw each other during the summer, and it didn't work out. Both just focused on different things. So yeah, but My first heartbreak, I kind of just went out with my friends. Here and there, like when my friends were busy and I couldn't do anything. I would just sit on my bed and just cry. And then like I don't know, here and there, like I'll drink. But yeah, and then I feel like I go out like make myself like be okay. I go out with my friends. I don't like being in the house a lot when I'm going through things because I feel like I overthink a lot. So yeah, I go out with my friends. I chill with my friends, and I surround myself with people that I know that care about me and love me. But
Nice,
obviously, there's still moments where you'll still feel like very lonely even though with your friends. So that happens a lot to me.
Okay, gotcha. So next question, do you have like a specific type, and what type of people have you dated so far?
So my first ex was black, and my mom didn't approve of him. That was the first time I ever told my mom that I was dating someone, and I was in high school. And so I told her after a year in that we were together, but I was like, I think 2 years in, and I was like, we've been dating for a year. And she was like no, like I don't approve. And every chance that she got, she's always like, oh, did you guys break up yet? Did you guys break up? I'm like, no, like we did it. We're still together. But after that, I've dated. So my ex after that was Korean, and then my most recent ex was Chinese. So I've been, I guess, more into Asians. Yeah, a lot of red flags.
Red flags. Okay, next question. More kind of on touchy subjects. So, how is your mental health as of now?
There's times. Well, so I dealt with depression. Here and there, I still feel very like depressed, but I go out with my friends to be okay. But as of lately, I think I just been wanting to just hang out by myself. Yeah. So I hang out by myself at home, and then I hang out on Discord with Matt and go through inquiries. But I think I'm okay for the most part.
Yeah. So, like, what's making you feel so down, though? Like nowadays.
Just I don't know, responsibilities, stuff that I have to do, and then I have to worry about I have to do this and that for my family, yeah. So just a lot of responsibilities at home and then for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Adulting. Okay. Okay, so on the same topic, this kind of goes back to what you said previously, when you felt like you went through depression and you kind of spun out with the rebellious stage. This was the time when you said your dad moved to Chicago. What was your thought process then? Like, how did you go through that experience of having your dad leave the family for business?
So just growing up, since I was always close to my dad, I just felt like my best friend just kind of left, up and left. Obviously, I could still call him and text him, but it wasn't the same as him being around. And then yeah, so after he left, I went through depression. I self-harmed, and then that took a toll on my mom, and she tried her best to get some help for me, I guess. But yeah, the self-harm, it it was like on and off. So it was very like I was doing it, you know, at the time during middle school, and then it got better. But there were a lot of times during high school where like I didn't know like what to do. Like I didn't want to talk to my friends. I didn't want to talk to my mom. So I resorted and went back to doing the same thing. But as of right now, like, you know, I don't self-harm anymore. I don't like I try my best to just deal with things like rationally. I don't really talk to my dad as much anymore either, but I know he's still there and I know he cares.
Yeah. So have you personally considered like seeking professional help or anything back then?
I think like if my mom knew that I was like still self-harming after she caught me like the first like 3 times, I think she would have gone to get me like professional help. But I think after I was more okay and she realized that like, you know, I would stop, she said that if I ever needed to talk to her, I would talk to her, but at the time like I didn't really get along with her. So
okay.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so switching gears now. What are your current goals and aspirations in life?
So my current goal, so short-term goal would be to finish undergrad. I mean, not undergrad, finish grad school. Find an accounting job, you know, to be able to like help my family out. And then long-term goal would be to grow from like accounting and like go into like a higher company and like higher firms and just making money and being able to help out my mom, like my family and my friends. Yes.
Nice, okay. Alright, now talk about your travel experiences. Where have you been to? Like, what did you do? And where would you like to go in the future?
So after moving to the US, I haven't been out of the country since. My family's been back to the Philippines like several times, but just because I always had school, I was never able to go. So within the US, from what I remember, I've been to Chicago, I've been to Michigan, I've been to Florida, you know, like connecting states, so like Washington DC, Philadelphia, New Jersey. And then when I was younger, when I was about 10, when I went to Chicago to visit my aunt, we went on a road trip and we went to at least 6 or 7 states on the West Coast. But I don't remember exactly which states anymore because I was like 10. Yeah. I definitely want to visit the Philippines, go back and see my family. I want to go to Korea, I want to go to Japan, I want to visit Taiwan, and then I want to visit London and Australia and Switzerland.
Nice. Specific places. Cool. Do you have actually, let's talk about piercings and or tattoos.
Oh, okay. So I have 6 piercings, 2 earlobe piercings on each side, and then I have 2 cartilage piercings on my left ear. I had 7, but for some reason, I got a piercing last year, and it was another like cartilage piercing, but it wasn't healing properly. So it's been about like a year and a half, and it wasn't healing properly. It would always get irritated. So last month or a couple weeks ago, I actually took it out and I just let it close. And then in August, I got a small tattoo on my wrist of 2 small butterflies. it's this.
Hmm.
But yeah, it was very like last minute. And also the tattoo place that we really went to, I didn't know like if I could trust them. So I didn't want to get like a piece that like I actually wanted to. So I just got 2 butterflies because I thought it looked cool.
Oh, okay. Nice. Now
Yeah.
we will start talking about social media. So, aside from Twitch, what platforms do you use?
I mostly use Instagram and Snapchat, and then I have a Facebook. Mostly just to see updates for family, and then like, tag my friends on like memes here and there. So mostly just Instagram and Snapchat. I have a Twitter, but it's just for K-pop updates.
Hmm.
And then yeah, Twitch.
Okay, cool. Now we're gonna talk about Twitch. So first off, how did you come up with your Twitch handle, the name?
So my IGNs for everything is almost basically EJSX. EJS is my initials, and then if I just put EJS, it thought it would look weird, so I added the X and the underscore. So I've been using EJSX underscore since I was in middle school. And I'm really bad at like IGNs, so I just kept with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, how about your Valorant name?
Oh, Calcifer. So Calcifer is actually my sorority name. It comes from Howl's Moving Castle, which is the little fire that keeps the house going. And I actually really, really love my sorority name because I just think it's really cool. So yeah, since EJSX, I started off with EJSX and I was like, oh, this is getting boring, so I switched it to Calcifer.
How did you get that name specifically from the sorority?
So for names, you're big supposed to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if I ever get a little, I have to give my little her name, and there's a meaning behind each name that like you get, but I haven't figured out the meaning of my name yet. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so talking about Twitch, how did you get into it, and what made you decide to start streaming?
So I actually got into Twitch through my friend Tiffmeister. I think you met her a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was never really into gaming like that up until COVID. So I got a gaming laptop, and then yeah, I would always just play Valorant or like League, whatever, with my friends. And March of last year, everyone was just like, oh, like you should try out streaming, like you should do this and that. And then I would always watch Tiffany stream, and I saw how much fun she would have during streaming and stuff, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like you get to meet like new people, like, and like, so I was like, oh, maybe like I'll try it out. I was like, if I don't like it, then I don't have to commit to it. But yeah, so I started streaming because of Tiffany. And then once I got into it, I started meeting new people and like pretty like chill people, and I was like, oh, this is actually really cool. So I stuck with it, and here I am. I got to meet you guys.
Mm-hmm. As of now, what is your current schedule, and what categories do you find yourself streaming?
I don't really have a set schedule. I stream whenever I feel like it, or like whenever I feel like I have the energy to. And I mostly just stream Valorant and League at the moment. When I first started, I was streaming a lot more games, so like Valorant, League, Genshin Impact, Among Us, Phasmophobia. Yeah, but so far, more recently, it's just been Valorant and League.
Okay.
24-hour stream, what?
Have you done one before?
No, I did. So I recently just did a 12-hour stream a couple days ago, and like I don't know. It was like really fun, but at the same time, like I was just sitting there and I was like, I don't know what else to do anymore.
Mhm.
But I did finish his 12 hours.
Nice. Okay, so who are your day ones that are still with you right now? The
Like,
people that,
from Twitch.
yeah, came through to your Twitch channel.
So, Matt, I feel like I met Matt when I first started streaming. He's stuck around since he came onto one of my my streams,
Mhm.
and then my friends, my IRL friends, so like Tiffany, Clarice, Nora, and then Erica and Nisi. And then I met Dan along the way, and I feel like Dan always pops in my chat, here and there. Who else? I think for the most part that. Oh, and I met someone from a raid. His IGN. I mean, yeah. So his IGN is like J double or something, and he's always in my chat now. So yeah.
Okay, so talking on how you met Matt, what was your first impression and what did you learn about him?
First impression. It was like, oh, he's pretty chill. I think at the time I was just talking about like, oh, what kind of music and stuff we like. Like I was doing a just chatting stream, and he seemed pretty cool. And I followed him, and then I went in his stream, and I just started hanging around his stream a lot. And yeah, and eventually I was like, oh, he's actually really, really cool, and he's actually like really nice. So
All right. Same question for Mr. Guvu.
oh, I met Govu through Matt maybe a month ago.
Mhm.
So here and there, me and Matt will just, chill on Discord, and then I don't know where Govu started hanging out with us on Discord, and it's just become an everyday thing now, almost an everyday thing if we're not busy. But yeah, first impression is like, oh, he's really funny. He's different.
It's different. Okay. Nice. Do you have any specific favorite memories from Twitch so far?
I think it might be one of my early on streams when I first started streaming. That was when like I was doing drinking streams, and I would have like people in chat ask me questions, and like get to know me, and then get to know like my viewers. So I think that's one of like my best memories from Twitch, and then also from like raids from you, my other Twitch streamer friends like Swaggy Daff, and then like Matt.
Mhm.
But yeah.
Oh, do you know Swaggy Daff RL?
Yeah, I do. She's a sister.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually met Matt through Swaggy Daff.
Mhm.
Through one of her raids, I think.
I see. Okay, so how has Twitch impacted you personally in your life?
I think it's different. Like when I don't stream, I feel like I have to. For a moment when I was like busy just working almost every day, like 7 days a week, I couldn't stream as much anymore, and I felt like I was like, oh, like I want to stream, but I can't. Like I'm physically like tired. I can't do it. But I've met so many like chill people through Twitch that I don't think I would have ever met if I didn't start streaming. So, and I met like really good friends. So yeah.
Nice. Okay, so speaking on that, what are the pros and cons of Twitch for you so far?
Pros is meeting new people, meeting really cool people. Built like I guess like the Twitch community is like everyone's like really nice, but then on the downside, I feel like for girl streamers, you get a lot of just like I don't know weirdos in your chat sometimes, and it's like kind of stressful.
Mhm.
It's like what the heck, like why are they ruining the vibes? Like why? Yeah. So
Okay. And now transitioning to that, what troll and hate encounter have you experienced so far, if there's any specific that comes to mind?
I haven't really experienced like any like hate or troll encounters. When I first started streaming, I had someone come into my chat and just started gifting subs, like so many subs. And I was like, dude, like, what are you doing? And he was also a streamer, so I was like, oh, like, I guess like we could be friends. But he was gifting subs like every stream, and it was like more than 5, more than 10 sometimes, and I felt really uncomfortable with it because I was like, why are you giving me so much money? Like, why are you using this money for yourself? Like, what the heck? So, oh, and then here and there, like, he would, we would talk on Discord, and eventually, like, when I couldn't be on Discord, I gave him a number and I was like, here. So we became friends, and then when I felt really comfortable with him just gifting me so many subs, I had to like confront him about it, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? And he was like, do you not think like you deserve it? And I was like, I don't know, like, I literally just started streaming, like, what are you doing? I was like, save your money for something more important. And I was like, what do you want from me? And eventually he confessed that he did like me, but he wasn't expecting me to like him back or like for anything to happen. But I like set him just straight, and I was like, oh, like, I'm not looking for a relationship, especially like meeting someone from Twitch. Like, I'm not really like looking for anything right now. Like, if you want, we can be friends. Here and there, like, for a while, like, we would talk almost every day, just as friends, and then up to the point where I started getting busy. He started getting busy, and then, but here and there, he'll come into my chat and be like, oh my god, come to Cali, like, I'll pay for half your ticket. I'm like, no, dude, what the fuck, save your money, like, I don't want it. So yeah, that's one of the really uncomfortable like situations I've been in through Twitch.
Got it. Alright, so what goals do you have for Twitch, if you have any?
I just like, I enjoy meeting new people. I enjoy making new friends through Twitch. So as for goals, I just want to be able to meet new friends, meet new people. I don't know, I don't think like I'll make it big on Twitch, but I do it just to meet new people. I really like just enjoy making new friends. So
have you had any Twitch meetups of like on your own so far?
no, not yet. So the funny thing is, a lot of the people that I've met through Twitch are actually from the West Coast. So other than my like the IRL Twitch streamers that I know and like my friends, I haven't really had any.
Okay. Alright, so what advice would you give to those who are trying to grow on Twitch or are just trying to like get started?
So I think if I think you need to be able to interact with your viewers, even if it's their first time coming into your chat or if they've been in there like almost every time you streamed. Like, just be able to interact with your viewers, like hold conversations with them. Obviously, like, if you're playing, it's hard, but doing just that will have your like viewers more engaged to just like come by and just see how you're doing and stuff like that. What else? Be more open to like, I guess, like talking to other streamers, just going into their chat, saying hi, stopping by here and there. Don't worry too much about like your viewer count. Whatever like viewers you can get, whoever is in your chat, like that's already like big, and yeah, and I learned that like rating people after your streams. That also helps a lot with meeting new people. So, yes.
Nice.
Yeah. Just supporting each other.
Last few about Twitch. So what are your thoughts on Twitch crushes, and do you have one?
Oh, I don't know. I don't have a Twitch crush. So I'm only really on Twitch when my friends are live. I don't really watch any big Twitch streamers and stuff like that. So I only go on it when, my friends are on. Like if you're on, Matt's on, like Dan's on, Tiff's on, and like other streamers that I met through like each of your channels, I'll stop by and say hi. But yeah, that's about it. I don't really have a Twitch crush.
And the last question, this is for chat. Alright, so how does it feel to be famous?
I'm not famous. You guys are famous, I swear.
She's denying it, guys. I think
Not
chat has
famous.
something to say about it. Alright.
Yeah, you guys are famous, not I.
Moving on to Valorant specifically. What is your favorite agent to play and least favorite?
More recently, my agent what the heck? Whoa. My favorite agent to play as of recently is Reyna. But when I first started off, I used to main Jet, and then I got bored, so I switched over to Phoenix. I got bored, I switched over to Brimstone. And I actually, like in certain maps, I like playing smokes. And when Astra came out, I was like, oh, like, she's actually really cool. I should try her out. And I actually really, really enjoyed playing Astra for a good while. And I got bored with playing smokes. So it was like, I should try Reyna. Because when I first started off, I was like, Reyna's actually really hard to play. Like knowing when to heal and knowing when to like E away or like whatever. I was like, it's hard. It's too fast paced for me. But then I learned how to play her, and yeah, I kind of just stuck with her for now.
Okay, so that was your favorite. How about the least favorite?
My least favorite is Sky,
Okay.
Breach, and Sova.
So on the flip side, what agent do you think is the best in the game and the worst?
The best, Reyna too cracked. The least, the worst one to play. Breach.
Okay. Your opinion. Got it. What do you think is the best gun in the game and the worst?
Best would have to be the Phantom or the Vandal, just because that's always what I use. The worst, the freaking Bucky,
Okay.
I guess. Yeah.
What's your favorite skin bundle?
My favorite skin bundle. I actually don't know the names of the more recent ones that came out. It's the one that spins around. I actually really like that one, but I didn't buy it just because I bought so many skins when I first started playing. I was like, I need to save my money. Is it the Origin? Yes.
Origin?
I think it's the Origin. Yeah, and then the Reaver.
Okay, so rank your maps from favorite to least favorite.
Okay, so the top one is Mind. Second is Ascent. And then Haven. Ascent. Icebox, Fracture, and then Breeze.
Where would you put Split?
Oh, I put Split for second.
Oh, so you said you want
Um,
bind, split,
bind, split.
haven, ascent?
Mhm.
Ah, okay. Okay. Alright, so thoughts about joining future tournaments?
Ooh, I wanted to join the tournament that's happening this weekend, but I'll be away
Mm-hmm.
this weekend, so it's my brother's engagement party. So yeah,
Next tournament
just-
then.
yes,
Okay,
I will try
okay.
for next tournament.
Let's go.
I suck ass though, please. I'm playing like complete trash recently.
Alright, now it comes down to the last few random questions that I have, and at this point, if you guys in chat have any questions for Ian while she's here, please ask. Let's go. What are some of your biggest pet peeves?
My biggest pet peeves. I think top one would be when people chew with their mouth open and just when people chew with their mouth open. When people walk too slow. And what else? Oh, when people tell you to do something and then you say okay and then they bother you about it when you already said okay. Like let me get to it and then, I guess kind of being told what to do.
Got it, okay. Let's see.
Yes, when people walk too slow. I live in New York City. It's inevitable.
Did you know that Matt is your biggest fan?
No, I'm his biggest fan.
What was the first game you remember playing?
It was on the PS2? No, the PS3. And then actually it was Pokemon. It was a Game Boy. So when I was younger in the Philippines, with my only cousin from my mom's side, so the cousin that I grew up with, we used to play Pokemon a lot on the Game Boy.
Ooh.
And then my brothers had the PS3 console, and then I would play like Dragon Ball Z and whatever games they had on it. Tekken.
Mhm.
So the first ever PC game that I've ever played was League.
Let's see. Speaking of Pokemon, what's your favorite of all time?
My favorite Pokemon?
Mm-hmm.
Charmander.
Okay.
I'm actually looking to buy the new Pokemon that's coming out soon.
Nice. What are some of your greatest fears?
Snakes. I have the biggest phobia with snakes and just reptiles and amphibians. So anything that looks like a snake or like a worm or whatever, I cannot look at pictures of them. I cannot look at toys of them. I always like get really, really scared, and I feel like it's just crawling on me. Like I can't do it. Like my friends will like play around sometimes and show me pictures of snakes, and I get so like I just cringe. I can't.
What would you say is your best or favorite trait / characteristic about yourself?
Okay, so favorite trait about myself is that I'm willing to put others' needs before myself. Be there for my friends, the ones that I care about. And then least favorite trait is insecurities. I don't think too highly of myself, and sometimes it gets to me. So yeah. Like I'm not, I guess like it's just I'm not where I want to be at right now.
So what are some of your greatest accomplishments and greatest failures / regrets?
Greatest accomplishment would probably be graduating my undergrad within 2.5 years and graduating with a 3.9 GPA. My lowest, my let's see. Probably all the stupid shit that I did when I was in middle school and high school. That really like hurt my mom and like I guess like my parents.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, those are like my biggest like regrets. And just also like not really like speaking out for myself and just doing stuff that I wish I would have done.
Alright, down to the last 3. So what was your first impression of me?
First impression with you was you're really chill. You know how to interact with like your viewers, your chat. And that you're very nice.
Thank you, appreciate that. Alright, list the top 5 streamers in no particular order of who you find watching the most as of now.
Matt, and Panda, you, Tiffany, Dan, and then whenever Gobu decides to stream. But it's I literally just like it's like my friends or people that like I know so people that I know. I'll say hi and like other streams that people that I met, and then I'll leave a lurk and then I'll go back to you guys' streams.
Alright, here's the last one. So, using your connection, who would you like to see on this podcast as a future guest, and why? So, like a streamer that comes to mind.
Govu or Tiffmeister. So Govu, because you guys know each other, and I feel like I don't know him as much either. I just know he's different. And then Tiff, just because she's a good friend of mine. She's one of the reasons why I got into streaming, and she's also very chill.
Okay, there you go. Govu and Tiff. Is there anything else you would like to tell us about yourself that you didn't get a chance to talk about? Because I feel like my questions are very limited, so...
Does anyone else in chat have any questions? I don't think so.
Yeah, that's totally fine.
Well, my love for hand sanitizer.
Oh, the timing! Josh!
Ow. Josh, he plays with
Josh,
the
he
Rave.
plays! Thank you so much!
He plays some games and he goes insane, so go follow him for a good
Wow, that timing! What the... Appreciate you, thank you so much, Joshy. How's the stream?
Yeah,
Hello,
my love
Yuki.
for hand sanitizer. It's just the vodka just goes down smoother than any alk. What do you mean? Are you ready to meet up? Yes, sir. Wilson, are you gonna come?
Yeah, Matt's gonna let me know the plan, and of course.
Okay, bet.
So how are you feeling now that you've gone through this podcast? I know you were kind of anxious, nervous.
I feel better. I don't know, I feel like it was for our podcast, but it's okay. Yeah, I don't know, I was really nervous. I don't really like talking about myself, so.
Well, I'm gonna close this out for the YouTube segment.
Okay.
Alright. Are you planning to stream or anything after?
No, not tonight. It's already 12 a.m.
Okay.
I'll stay in your stream though.
Thank you. Alright, folks. This has been the Chang Game Podcast, episode 40, featuring Ian, aka EJSX_. Ian, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate the time, and for you to just share all these experiences has been awesome to hear, because I felt like I've learned a lot.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And thank you guys in chat for being here to support and to listen as well. This is episode 40. We're gonna have more. The next one's like in 2 days. You guys will see this video within the next few days on YouTube. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Ian, do you have any final words for everyone?
Thank you guys for stopping by, for whoever stayed in chat and listened. I really appreciate it. And for Wilson for having me.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure. Alright, take it easy. I'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned. Peace.